Have you ever wondered why even the greatest civilizations in history were filled with absolute idiots? Most people think that ancient warriors and thinkers were always serious and wise. They built pyramids and wrote laws that we still use today. A normal person in Rome or Greece just wanted to work hard and stay safe. But some guys had ideas that were so stupid they ended their own lives before the day was over. Today, we are looking at 7 times that ancient arrogance led to a very embarrassing end. These are the 7 dumbest ancient exits in the Darwin Awards. Sit back, take a deep breath, watch what happens when a lack of common sense meets the brutal reality of the old world. 1. He wanted to enjoy a nice sunny day in the hills of ancient Greece. He found a smooth, flat rock and sat down to relax. He had a very bald and very shiny head that reflected the bright sun. An eagle was flying high above with a massive, heavy tortoise in its sharp claws. The bird needed to find a hard stone to break the shell and eat the meat. It looked down from the sky and saw the man's bald head. It firmly believed the shiny skull was a perfect hard rock. The bird dropped the massive tortoise from 100 feet in the air. He actually believed he was perfectly safe in an open field. He did not look up once or listen for the sound of the falling shell. The tortoise hit him directly on the crown of his head with the force of a falling brick. He wanted to get a tan and enjoy the breeze. He became a bird's lunch table instead. The eagle got its dinner, and he got a permanent seat on the hillside. Gravity does not care about your bald spots. 2. He was a famous athlete who had just retired from the local games. A massive bronze statue was built in the town square to honor his great career. A rival athlete was very jealous of all the fame and the praise. He went to the statue late at night with a very heavy rope. He wanted to pull the bronze man into the mud to humiliate his rival. A normal person knows that 1,000 pounds of metal is incredibly heavy. He tied the rope around his own waist for extra leverage to pull harder. He pulled with all his might against the solid base. The statue began to tip forward toward him. He could not untie the rope fast enough because of the heavy tension. The bronze giant fell directly on his chest and crushed his ribs instantly. He wanted to ruin a good memory for everyone else. He became a permanent part of the monument instead. He was defeated by a man made of metal. Jealousy is a very heavy burden to carry. 3. Winter in the ancient world was incredibly cold and very dangerous. Most people wore thick wool and sat by a big fire to stay safe. A guy wanted to stay warm from the inside of his body out to his skin. He looked at the glowing red coals in the bottom of the fire pit. He actually believed that swallowing a hot rock would keep his belly warm all night. He used a pair of metal tongs to lift a burning coal out of the flames. He put the fire directly into his own mouth and tried to swallow it. He did not think about the fact that his throat is made of very soft skin. The coal burned straight through his windpipe in a matter of seconds. He wanted to feel cozy and escape the winter frost. He turned his own body into a small and very fatal stove. He discovered that fire does not care about your comfort. He was warm for the rest of his very short life. Some ideas are too hot to handle. 4. Gold was the most valuable thing in the entire ancient world. Many alchemists claimed that drinking gold would make a man live forever. A rich guy wanted to be immortal and keep his wealth at the same time. He melted a handful of gold coins in a hot pot over a roaring fire. He confidently poured the boiling liquid metal down his own throat. He firmly believed the magic of the gold would heal his old body. He completely ignored the fact that liquid metal is over 1,000 degrees. The gold hardened instantly inside his chest and turned his lungs into solid metal. He wanted to be a god who lived for thousands of years. He became a very expensive and very heavy statue instead. He died with a belly full of treasure but zero air to breathe. Gold is a great decoration but a terrible drink. He learned that money cannot buy a new set of lungs. His wealth was his final weight. 5. Racing a chariot was the fastest way to travel in the ancient world. It was a very dangerous sport even for the best professional drivers. A guy wanted to win the local race at any cost to impress the crowd. He was very afraid of falling out of the wooden cart during a sharp turn. He took a thick leather strap and tied himself firmly to the front rail of the cart. He actually believed this would keep him safe if the chariot hit a bump. The chariot hit a large rock and flipped over on its side. The horses did not stop running because they were scared by the loud noise. They dragged him through the jagged rocks for miles because he was still tied to the wreck. He wanted to stay in his seat and win the prize. He became a human drag chute across the dirt instead. He discovered that being tied to a disaster only makes it worse. Safety equipment should never become a trap. He reached the finish line in many different pieces. 6. Ancient armies used massive wooden machines to throw heavy rocks at walls. These machines were held back by huge amounts of tension in thick ropes. A young soldier was very curious about how the trigger worked. He walked up to a fully loaded catapult while the rest of the army was sleeping. He leaned his entire body over the heavy wooden arm to get a closer look at the gears. He accidentally bumped the release lever with the side of his foot. The arm launched upward with enough force to throw a massive boulder. It hit him directly in the jaw and sent him flying into a stone wall. He wanted to learn about engineering and how big machines work. He learned about kinetic energy the hard way in the middle of the night. He was the only thing the catapult launched that entire day. He discovered that curiosity can be a very heavy hit. Machines do not wait for you to move your head. He was a projectile instead of a soldier. 7. Many ancient people believed that snakes were messengers from the powerful gods. A worshipper wanted to prove how much he loved his local temple and the spirits. He found a massive and colorful viper hiding in the tall grass. A normal person stays far away from a hissing snake with long fangs. He decided he needed to kiss the holy creature on the head to get a special blessing. He actually believed the snake would recognize his pure heart and not bite him. The viper struck him instantly in the face before he could even move. He did not go to a doctor because he thought the holy poison would make him stronger. He died in the dirt a few hours later after a lot of pain. He wanted a blessing from the heavens. He got a permanent exit from the temple and the earth instead. Nature does not care about your religious heart. The snake was just looking for a reason to bite. He became a ghost instead of a saint. History is full of people who thought they were smarter than the world around them. But as we saw today, the ancient world had no mercy for bad ideas. The bald head rock story is a classic example of being in the wrong place at the worst possible time. Why would you sit out in the open with a shiny head while eagles are hunting? And then there is the liquid gold drink. Trying to become immortal by drinking boiling metal is the ultimate failure of common sense.